Neom, Saudi Arabia's $500 billion megaproject, claims to redefine the future with flying taxis, AI-powered infrastructure, and a 170-kilometer mirrored city. But is this utopia too ambitious to succeed? Today we uncover why Neom might fail spectacularly. To start, the scale and design of Neom are unprecedented and, to many, unrealistic. The centerpiece of the project, the Line, is a proposed 170-kilometer mirrored linear city cutting through vast desert landscapes. Projects of this magnitude have no historical precedent. No city, let alone one confined to such an extreme design, has ever been attempted. Unlike traditional cities that grow outward in an organic and flexible manner, Neom's rigid linear structure presents unique engineering and logistical hurdles. Maintaining mirrored walls across such an enormous distance in the middle of a harsh desert, where sandstorms, heat, and dust are constant challenges, poses questions about the long-term durability and upkeep. Mirrors may look visually impressive, but cleaning and maintaining them to keep their reflective aesthetic is an expensive, resource-intensive effort. Additionally, constructing AI-powered infrastructure that connects millions of residents in a narrow, 200-meter-wide strip introduces enormous challenges. Housing, transportation, and utilities must all operate with absolute precision in this tightly packed linear environment. Even minor disruptions, like a failure in public transit, food supply systems, or utilities, could cascade into larger logistical issues, given the lack of alternative routes and redundancy in the design. Experts are already questioning the practicality of such a setup. Commuting, for instance, could become unnecessarily time-consuming for residents who might need to travel dozens of kilometers within the Line just to access work, schools, or services. While futuristic renderings portray an aesthetically stunning utopia, the actual execution of this vision could prove impractical, prohibitively expensive, and inefficient in meeting the everyday needs of its residents. Another major challenge lies in Neom's environmental impact. Despite claims that it will be a beacon of sustainability powered entirely by renewable energy, the reality of constructing such a massive city in the middle of untouched desert landscapes paints a different picture. The Red Sea region and the surrounding desert are fragile ecosystems, home to unique biodiversity, including marine life and endangered species. Large-scale construction will require clearing vast swathes of pristine land, potentially disrupting wildlife habitats and irreversibly altering the natural balance. The engineering process will involve extensive excavation, earth moving, and heavy machinery use, all of which will leave a significant environmental footprint. Furthermore, the carbon emissions from building Neom alone, transporting materials, operating machinery, and erecting massive structures will be enormous, undermining its claims of being an eco-friendly city. Critics argue that a project of this scale, while promoting sustainability as its key value, may inadvertently exasperate environmental harm during its development. Adding to these concerns are the difficulties in sourcing and managing essential resources like water and energy. Neom will need massive amounts of desalinated water to support millions of residents in one of the world's driest climates. Water desalination is energy-intensive and could strain renewable energy systems, creating a paradox where the project's sustainability is compromised by its resource demands. Similarly, cooling systems to combat extreme desert heat will require constant energy, further challenging Neom's ability to deliver on its environmental promises. While Saudi Arabia's oil wealth has funded many ambitious projects in the past, Neom's economic viability remains a major concern. At a staggering cost of $500 billion, the sheer scale of the financial commitment required is unparalleled. Even for an oil-rich nation, this monumental sum that will stretch resources to their limits. Saudi Arabia's economy, while robust, is still heavily dependent on oil revenues, and this reliance introduces significant financial risk. Global oil markets are notoriously unstable, influenced by geopolitical events, supply-demand imbalances, and the global push toward renewable energy. In recent years, fluctuating oil prices have highlighted just how volatile these markets can be, and any major downturn could severely impact the kingdom's ability to continue funding Neom. Compounding this issue is the ongoing global shift toward renewable energy and carbon neutrality, as countries around the world reduce their reliance on fossil fuels. With demand for oil expected to decline in the coming decades, Saudi Arabia faces a race against time to diversify its economy. Neom, as part of the Vision 2030 plan, is meant to symbolize this diversification effort. However, critics argue that relying on oil revenues to fund a project designed to prepare for a post-oil economy is paradoxical.
This futuristic city that he is planning to invest $500 billion in it. What if it goes wrong? It could bankrupt the country.
If global oil prices plummet, Neom could find itself underfunded or stalled indefinitely, becoming a half-built, overhyped megaproject. The kingdom hopes foreign investment will help bear the costs, but investors are often wary of projects that carry this level of uncertainty and risk. Without clear pathways to profit and sustainability, Neom could become an unfinished white elephant, a monument to ambition rather than success. Technological challenges further compound the financial and operational risks facing Neom. The project's vision depends on integrating groundbreaking, futuristic technologies, many of which remain experimental or underdeveloped. AI-driven services, autonomous vehicles, flying taxis, and advanced robotics are all key elements of Neom's blueprint. While these ideas are captivating and align with the city's futuristic branding, the reality is that most of these technologies are not yet ready for large-scale implementation. For example, flying taxis, an iconic element of Neom's vision, are still in the prototype phase and face numerous safety, regulatory, and logistical hurdles. Scaling these vehicles for daily use in a bustling city would require technological breakthroughs and substantial regulatory approvals that simply do not exist yet. The reliance on artificial intelligence to manage services like transportation, energy disruption, and waste management also introduces significant risks. While AI offers impressive capabilities, its performance on such a massive scale remains unproven. Cities are complex and dynamic ecosystems, and expecting AI to seamlessly control Neom's infrastructure could result in unintended consequences, from system failures to inefficiencies that disrupt daily life. A malfunction in AI-powered systems or autonomous vehicles could bring essential city functions to a halt, creating frustration for residents and visitors alike. Adding to these concerns is Saudi Arabia's position within a volatile region. Political instability and geopolitical tensions in the Middle East are well documented, and Neom's location makes it vulnerable to potential regional conflicts. Disputes involving neighboring countries, terrorism, and economic sanctions could deter investors, tourists, and residents. Political instability also disrupts supply chains and construction timelines, which could make it difficult to complete the project on time. For a city that aspires to be a global destination, the perception of regional instability poses a serious reputational challenge. Human rights and labor issues further complicate Neom's development. Reports have surfaced of forced evictions of indigenous tribes in the area, most notably the Huayta tribe, to make way for the project. These allegations have sparked international criticism and tarnished Neom's image as a city of the future. Additionally, Saudi Arabia's reliance on migrant labor raises concerns about working conditions. Past projects in the region have faced allegations of labor exploitation, underpayment, and poor safety standards. If these issues persist, Neom risks attracting further backlash, which could discourage international partnerships and undermine its global appeal. Another issue that Neom faces is cultural resistance. While the city promises a liberal, futuristic lifestyle, this vision could clash with Saudi Arabia's deeply rooted conservative values. Introducing Western-style norms, such as unrestricted entertainment, gender mixing, and more relaxed lifestyles, may face resistance from Saudi society. On the other hand, international residents and tourists might find Saudi Arabia's cultural restrictions, including bans on alcohol and conservative dress codes, off-putting. This cultural balancing act will be difficult to navigate and could create internal tensions that challenge Neom's success. Security risks are another significant factor. The sheer scale and visibility of Neom make it a potential target for terrorism and cyber attacks. In a region already grappling with security challenges, ensuring the safety of residents, workers, and tourists is paramount. Any major breach, whether physical or digital, could destroy public trust in Neom and undermine its image as a safe, futuristic city. Maintaining robust, state-of-the-art security infrastructure across 170 kilometers is a monumental task that carries its own risks and costs. Saudi Arabia's heavy reliance on oil revenue makes Neom particularly vulnerable to economic shocks. While Neom is part of the kingdom's Vision 2030 plan to diversify its economy, the funding still largely depends on oil. As the world accelerates its transition toward renewable energy, the demand for oil is expected to decline. If oil prices drop significantly, the kingdom's ability to sustain a project of this magnitude could be jeopardized. This economic uncertainty raises doubts about whether Neom can reach completion or become financially viable in the long term. The timeline for Neom's development is another area of concern. The first phases of the city are expected to be completed by 2030, a highly ambitious goal for a project of this scale. Rapid development on such an unprecedented level creates risks of cutting corners, compromising safety, and neglecting quality. Infrastructure projects of this magnitude often face delays and unforeseen complications, even under ideal circumstances. Neom's compressed timeline increases the likelihood of rushed execution, which could result in costly errors and incomplete infrastructure. One of Neom's core promises is its use of futuristic technologies like AI, robotics, and autonomous systems to power daily life. However, these innovations remain largely untested on a city-wide scale, making their reliability and practicality uncertain. For instance, flying taxis, a much touted feature of Neom, are still in the experimental phase, requiring extensive regulatory approval and significant safety advancements before they can be deployed at scale. Similarly, fully autonomous vehicles and AI-driven infrastructure, while impressive in controlled environments, faces challenges when dealing with unpredictable variables like traffic complexities or human behavior in a bustling city. Any malfunction or failure in these systems could disrupt essential services, causing widespread chaos for residents. Moreover, the cost and complexity of maintaining such cutting-edge systems are enormous. Advanced technologies requiring ongoing updates, repairs, and replacements, which could drain financial resources over time, raising concerns about the city's long-term sustainability. If these systems fail to function reliably or live up to the hype, Neom risks losing both its futuristic appeal and its ability to operate effectively as a city. Relying on unproven innovations introduces a level of uncertainty that could undermine the very foundation of the project's success. Neom's ambitious plan to attract international tourists may face significant hurdles due to Saudi Arabia's cultural and legal restrictions. While the city is marketed as a global hub for luxury, innovation, and entertainment, it must contend with the kingdom's conservative norms. For many international travelers, Saudi Arabia's ban on alcohol remains a major deterrent, especially when compared to competing tourist destinations in the region like Dubai, where nightlife and relaxed regulations are key draws. Additionally, conservative dress codes, gender segregation in some public spaces, and restrictions on certain types of entertainment may conflict with the expectations of tourists seeking a more liberal and unrestricted vacation experience. These cultural barriers pose a challenge to Neom's goal of becoming a premier destination for international tourism. While Saudi Arabia has made some progress in modernizing its image, deep-rooted societal norms could limit its ability to fully adapt to global standards of hospitality. Without clear policy changes to address these restrictions, Neom risks alienating potential visitors who may prefer more accessible, culturally flexible destinations. Overestimating its tourism appeal without acknowledging these barriers could result in disappointing visitor numbers, leading to lower-than-expected revenues and threatening the project's economic sustainability. Neom may need to strike a delicate balance between modernizing its offerings and respecting its cultural framework to avoid becoming an expensive, underutilized attraction. The harsh desert environment where Neom is being built presents another significant challenge that cannot be overlooked. With temperatures regularly soaring above 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 49 degrees centigrade during the summer months, maintaining a comfortable and livable environment for residents will require colossal resources for air conditioning and cooling systems. The energy demands to keep homes, public spaces, and infrastructure cool in such extreme heat are staggering and will place an immense burden on the city's power grid. While Neom claims it will be powered entirely by renewable energy, the scale of these cooling requirements raises concerns about whether sustainable systems can meet the sheer demand, especially during prolonged heat waves. Water scarcity further complicates Neom's vision of a thriving desert metropolis. The city will rely heavily on desalination plants to provide drinking water, a process that consumes enormous amounts of energy and produces saline byproducts harmful to marine ecosystems. In a region already dealing with limited freshwater resources, this dependency on desalination could become financially and environmentally unsustainable over time. Adding to these challenges are natural desert conditions like sandstorms and dust accumulation, which can damage infrastructure, clog systems, and disrupt daily life. Sand erosion, intense UV exposure, and extreme weather will require constant maintenance, adding to the operational costs. Combined, these factors raise serious questions about the practicality of building and sustaining a futuristic city in one of the world's most unforgiving environments. Recruiting and retaining a skilled labor force poses further obstacles for Neom. Building such a complex city in a remote desert location will require thousands of workers, engineers, and specialists. However, harsh working conditions, cultural restrictions, and potential human rights concerns may deter skilled professionals from joining the project. Additionally, attracting international talent to live and work in Neom long-term could prove difficult, especially given Saudi Arabia's conservative societal norms. Labor shortages or high turnover rates could delay construction, increase costs, and compromise the project's success. Finally, Neom's success is closely tied to the leadership and vision of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, its primary backer. While the Crown Prince remains committed to Vision 2030, political priorities can shift over time. Future leadership may not share the same enthusiasm for Neom or may choose to reallocate resources to other initiatives. A change in leadership priorities could result in reduced funding, stalled progress, or even the abandonment of the project altogether. This dependence on a single vision creates an inherent risk that could threaten Neom's longevity. In conclusion, Neom represents an audacious vision of the future, but its path to success is fraught with challenges. From unrealistic designs and environmental concerns to economic instability and cultural resistance, the project faces numerous obstacles that could lead to failure. While its goals are undeniably ambitious, Neom serves as a cautionary tale about the risks of overpromising and under-delivering. Only time will tell if this $500 billion dream will become a groundbreaking reality or remain a futuristic fantasy. What do you think about Neom? Is it the city of the future, or is it destined to fail? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest projects shaping our world.